Good afternoon, this is Gabriel Jackson, and welcome to BJC Mitzvah A, number 4, using Sefer HaChinuch, the book of mitzvahs, as we plow through the entire 613 mitzvahs, 248 positive, 365 negative, according to the Parshas. We're in the book of Shmos now, the second book, and this is a very long mitzvah, so we are going to break it down into at least 2 days, probably 3 or 4 days. But let's try to get it and understand it. Number 4, the obligation to sanctify Rosh Chodesh, the new month. As it says, "Chodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim Rishon hu lachem l'chad sheshana." This month shall be for you the beginning of the months, the month of Nisan. It shall be for you the first of the months of the year. And they bring an introduction to this mitzvah. The mitzvah of establishing the month according to the new moon was received by the Jewish people while they were still in Egypt. And it is the first mitzvah that was given to them as a nation, right? So as entire Jewish people, even before we got to Mount Sinai, we received this mitzvah. In its simple meaning, the term Chodesh in the above verse connotes month. And the verse means that the month of Nisan, which is when this passage was said, is to be the beginning of the order of the counting of the months, so that Iyar, the next month, will be called the second month, Sivan the third, and so on. He says, see Rashi and Ramban to the verse. However, as transmitted to us in the oral Torah, the word Chodesh also means renewal. And thus the verse is understood as saying, this renewal shall be for you the beginning of the months. Hashem showed Moses the moon at its moment of newness and commanded him that this renewal shall be the basis of establishing the months in the Jewish calendar. That's from the Mechilta. For a better understanding of this mitzvah, a brief discussion of the Jewish calendar is necessary as follows. The Jewish calendar is based on the cycle of the moon. As the moon orbits the earth, the illuminated part of the moon is not always entirely visible to an observer on earth. Our view of its illuminated portion increases in the first half of the month and decreases in the second half of the month. At the very end of the cycle, the illuminated portion of the moon is totally invisible to an observer on Earth. This precise moment, when the moon completes its revolution of Earth to begin a new revolution, is known as the molad, i.e. the birth of the moon. A complete lunar cycle, i.e. the time from the molad of 1 month to the molad of the next month, contains approximately 29 and a half days. Since the Jewish calendar month consists only of whole days, a Jewish month will sometimes contain 30 days and sometimes 29 days, unlike the English month, usually 30 or 31, right? Except for February. Thus, Rosh Chodesh, the new month, which is the first day of the new month, will sometimes be on the 30th day from the previous Rosh Chodesh and sometimes on the 31st. Since the lunar cycle is approximately 29 and a half days long, a 12-month lunar year will generally contain 354 days, 12 times 29 and a half. This makes the lunar year approximately 11 days shorter than the solar year, which contains approximately 365 days. Over the course of 3 years, the lunar calendar will have fallen behind the solar year by approximately 33 days. Thus, for example, in a given year, the month of Nisan would begin 33 days earlier in the solar year than it began 3 years previously. To compensate for this loss and keep the lunar months in their proper seasons, an additional month called Adar, a 13th month, because Adar is usually 12th month, so we add an extra month, the 13th month, is occasionally intercalculated to the year. This procedure is known as Ibar Shana, intercalculation of the year. Okay, and we will continue tomorrow. Like I said, it's a very long mitzvah. To respond to each mitzvah, 36 100 for the gold. See you tomorrow.